although we've got frameworks and things that tell us this is how to do something, agile is all about flexing that process.
Hi, Ben. Thanks so much for joining us today. Before we get started here, could you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, please?
Hi, Scott. Thanks. Yes, I'm Ben Murray. I'm a senior engineering manager at Holland and Barrett in the UK. Holland and Barrett's basically a health and wellness provider. Going global, I think, is where it's at, and part of that is building out their tech infrastructure to enable us a supply chain of moving goods around the world.
Amazing. And later on this year, in a couple of months' time, you're going to be speaking at Lead Dev Berlin. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about there?
So I guess the talk I'm going to be doing at Lead Dev Berlin is really just around, I guess it's around how teams organize the stories that they work on and the tasks, and how teams like break those down and put them through whichever agile process they're using. Over the years, I've worked as an engineer in teams using different forms of agile, and I've led teams using different forms of agile because the team tends to pick whatever works for it best. And this is really just about, I guess, based on part of my experience. There's stuff out there which will tell you this is how you should do something. This is really just my experience of what has worked best for teams and when they've been most productive.
Yeah, and over the years, what have you learned? What's the biggest lesson you've learned about agile processes and running agile teams, especially during the last few years, which have been so disruptive?
I think probably the biggest lesson or the biggest sort of learning out of it is that although we've got frameworks and things that tell us this is how to do something, agile is all about flexing that process. So it's all about changing it all the time. So it's like continuous improvement. It's continuously changing. So you've got to change. Even a team that thinks we're working really well, you'll see that they will be changing what they're doing from day to day, and that's how they tend to be successful. I guess the other part that I've learned in that is that engineering teams are usually very good at being self-led once given the space to do what they find is best. With a little bit of guidance, most of the time, I think engineers tend to flourish in that sort of environment.
Yeah, and in your experience, how have you found that you maintain that autonomy when things get a little bit tighter, when scrutiny kind of increases? Because I'm hearing that a lot at the moment, and it can be difficult to maintain that autonomy that people have kind of become accustomed to.
Part of it is if you're the person I guess managing the team or leading the team, then partly that's where you come in as the buffer of if you like answering the questions about what is happening, why isn't the team doing something, while still trying to maintain that autonomy. You do have to have sort of things where the team will need to kind of keep itself in check. So like a sports team, you want to be, when you're working with people, you need to be able to trust them, and part of that in the team is that we trust each other and hold each other to account. So I think that's really what works best. It may not always be seen further up outside of a team. They may be asked questions, but that's where, as a manager, you need to be protecting the team, basically.
Yeah, nice. And I don't know if you would call yourself an agile exponent, but obviously you've worked in agile ways for quite a long time now. We know that it's not the sexiest way of working anymore. It's kind of been around for a long time, but it is still very, very common. How do you feel about how agile is kind of fit for purpose in the modern day?
I think sort of the evolution of it from all the different models that people will have gone through, it really just falls into what works best, and agile, you adjust the process to meet what the team needs and what the business needs. So you do as a team need to be able to answer the question, to explain what you're working on, what's coming next, and to try and give some idea of I guess timelines. That's always the big question: when will this be done? Which is really best answered when you've got a team working smoothly and in a consistent manner. Once you've got that, then answering that question becomes a lot easier. Um,
Perfect. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit to when you've delivered your talk. What do you hope that people take away?
I hope really it just to start some conversations. Maybe it'll be people coming and telling me, no, yeah, sort of, yes, that sounds good. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some other way. And sort of asking questions. I think really it's just that is to go back and challenge. This is the way we do something now. There's something else that we could be doing. So part of it is I just want to share what my experience has been. I get some feedback on that, and people can tell me their experience, and hopefully I'll get some new ideas to try as well.
Well, I'm so looking forward to this talk. I can't wait to see you in Berlin in a couple of months' time. Thanks again, Ben.